Welcome to Bay Focus. Thank you for tuning in today. Well, we are going to get you caught up in just a moment with Positive Impact Ministries in St. Petersburg. What they are doing there to feed the hungry and to meet their community needs is just amazing. And they have a new initiative, and we're going to hear about that. And then I want you to stay tuned also, because in a little bit later in the show, in the last half of the show, really important conversation with Daniel Bernard, Dr. Daniel Bernard, who's here to talk about his book, The Proven Plan, and he brought with him a local pastor as well. Pastors, if you're watching, stay tuned. You want to hear about this book, The Proven Plan. But before we do that, we're going to get caught up on Positive Impact Ministries. And I have next to me Karen Ray, who is the executive director. And next to you is Carolyn Brubaker, who is the co-founder, along with her husband, Jay. And for those of you that may not know, this is a mother-daughter team. And you get to choose who's the mother and who's the daughter. Yes. Write in right now, call in. No, this is Mom, this is Karen. But I love how they work in ministry together. And, you know, for our viewers that don't know, Carolyn, what is it that Positive Impact does on a weekly basis?
It's so exciting to be a part of what God has for our plan for our lives. And what we do, Darlene, is we help to provide food for families and their children. So we started out, we bought a former Chinese restaurant, we bussed in children and fed them, and COVID totally changed our ministry, actually put us exactly where God would have for us to be, out on the streets, ministering to the people. And with that, we started feeding, bringing food and giving fresh fruit and vegetables. And the city saw what we were doing. We had won the Martin Luther King Humanitarian Award and the keys to the city. And they said, let's do this at Tangerine Plaza in St. Petersburg. With that, we are now providing food up to from 600 to 700 families each week.
And you do this on Saturday mornings, correct?
Yes, we do.
What is the time that you do that?
Our time is in between 9 and 12 o'clock. And it's just amazing to...
And people can just come? Do they have to register to come? Or
No,
Okay.
It's a pop, drop, and drive model.
Yeah, I love that.
And we've been doing that for 4 years. But Karen will explain about the vision that God has given to us.
I have to get into this. So we're going to show on screen. You have something called Reimagine St. Pete, a campaign to reimagine ending hunger. And then you also, and we're going to show a picture of where you're talking about on this plaza, on Tangerine Plaza. And I love picture shows, Positive Impact Neighborhood Market. What is going on? This is the coolest thing.
It is. So as Mom mentioned, every single Saturday we provide free groceries for individuals and families, and it is a drive-through model. And we call it our Pop, Drop, and Drive event. And what that means is people pop their trunks, we drop groceries in, and they drive away. So it's a very efficient process. However, we are providing pre-made boxes of groceries for families. And through partnership with Publix and Sam's and Aldi's and the Fresh Market, we are providing fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, high-quality meats, and dairy products. So it's a great selection of food. But we are going to transition from this drive-through model to opening a neighborhood market where individuals and families can select the foods that they want and also select foods that meet their dietary needs. And this will give these individuals and families a dignified shopping experience.
I absolutely love that. But you also take it even a step further. You have a multi-pronged. I want to encourage you to go to their website, by the way, because there's so much great information on there about this. You see this as a facility, almost like a training facility, incubation of new ideas. Explain the multi-pronged, what this will do, having that facility.
Absolutely. So this, we currently are celebrating 20 years of ending hunger and giving hope in our city. So we're looking at where we're at today and where we're going to be 5 years from now. So we will be rolling these programs out over the next few years. the primary program is our neighborhood market. We will also have a neighborhood pharmacy, and that is spelled FARMACY. Or
Yeah, that works. That works.
does that work? And it's where individuals will be prescribed healthy foods as medicine. So we're excited about that. But we will also have a culinary arts center.
That's what I'm remembering.
Yes, and we will teach individuals basic nutrition and healthy food prepping skills. So that's just one part of it. But we also will do some job training for those in the service industry. We are partnered with P-Tech College currently, so they will be working along with us, their culinary arts department.
I cannot reimagine a more awesome way to go after hunger on so many different levels.
Exactly.
And trying not only as a handout in the grocery shop, but also trying to give opportunities for people to learn and grow and their health.
Yes.
It's like you're doing all these different levels. All right, this doesn't happen easily. This is a vision you need people to come alongside you.
Absolutely.
Who are you looking for, and who is partnering, and who are you looking for to help you do this?
Well, Darlene, it's like any business. I mean, I apologize for my voice. I have spasmodic dysphonia, but I never let that stop me. We need a sustainability partners, people that come along beside us that say, we see the vision. And you know what? In our area, 1 in 5 children go to bed hungry, and that is not okay. This is the United States of America, where we have the ability to be able to help our families. And so with that, we've laid our lives down for the past 20 years to be able to help people go out into the hedges and the highways. Now, God has blessed us tremendously. We are debt-free. And we've never applied for a grant. It's people with a heart that says, we see what you're doing. And see, we're not saying we're doing it, we are doing it. Right now, we need people that will come alongside us, that we can do a matching fund up to $250,000. We've had people that are standing beside us saying, hey, what about $5? Praise God, $5.
Yeah.
We'll make it 10. What about 25 or 100 or 5,000? We have to have that. It's just like with our trucks. We have insurance that just came due. And last year, the insurance on one of our box trucks was $8,000. This year, it's $13,000.
Yeah.
So the price of bringing free groceries to people is not free.
Yeah.
And I'll have Karen to go
Well,
through those
yeah,
different levels.
and I'm seeing, and in particular, if somebody's watching right now, Karen, I'm seeing this is an incredible opportunity for corporate sponsorship.
Oh, absolutely. We are seeking corporate sponsors. And you mentioned going to our website, positiveimpact.org, and taking a look at our Reimagine St. Pete campaign. Sponsorship levels are listed out there. But change makers are those who donate $100,000 or more to get behind this initiative. This is a multi-million-dollar initiative, and it's only going to happen with the support of individuals, corporate sponsors, and sustainability
Well, if you've
partners.
been following the news, local news and everything, that area too has gone through a number of changes, different stores and everything going in and out of there, that this would be so stabilizing.
Absolutely.
Too, for that plaza, for people to come and be able to get the food, to do their own shopping, people in need, in terms of having a really great store market there that actually meets the needs of those in need. I love it, I have to tell you. All right, we're down to the last couple of minutes again. So tell how our viewers can connect.
I just want to encourage the people to call us, to contact us, meet with us personally. We would love to share the vision of what God is doing in the community. You never know what it feels like to see a child run across the front entry of our building that is hungry, saying, what do you have that I can have to eat? We can stop this, but we need your support.
Okay. All right. I want to
Yes.
thank you both so much
you.
for coming on and sharing this. You guys, I bring you on about twice a year. I think there's always something. You have such vision, such a love for people and to meet the needs. And I want to thank you for sharing that so much with our viewers. And you, those of you watching at home, this is a ministry that you can partner with. I've known Carolyn and Karen for a long time, but Carolyn and her husband, Jay, he has a long background in law enforcement. He's the one that targeted, he could see where the needs were. Jay's parents were longtime broadcasters with CTN and doing God's news behind the news for many, Ray and Darlene Brubaker, for many, many years. So they have a long history with CTN as well, that if you're wanting to say, I don't know much about this ministry, we know them, so we can recommend them. So I want you to participate and do anything you can to help see this dream and to help reimagine St. Pete and fight hunger in our area. Stay tuned on the screen. Once again, you're going to see how you can contact Positive Impact, and we are going to be right back to talk about a very, very interesting book that you want to know more about. We'll be right back.
We want to hear from you. Is there an event happening in the Tampa Bay area or an organization helping the local community? If you have answers, let us know. Email us at darleneg@ctnonline.com. Find us online at ctnonline.com/BayFocus or follow us on Facebook at BayFocus TV.
Well, we're back, and I hope you'll support Positive Impact Ministries in St. Pete. They do such a great work. Well, we're going to pivot now to a whole different topic, and I'm hoping that we have some people involved in ministry here that are watching, some of you in particular, but for everyone, it's so important for every believer in Christ. This book is called The Proven Plan, and it is by Daniel and Kathy Bernard. I'm going to introduce our guests in just a moment. But it is a call to just let's disciple people in a different way, the importance of it. But there's some really, really interesting things we want to talk about. And I have with me today the author of this book. You know him as the president, founder and president of Somebody Cares Tampa Bay, but he has a rich history in ministry even beyond that, as a missionary and inner city ministry and a variety of things. Dr. Daniel Bernard.
Thank you.
And again, nice to have you back.
Great to be here. Thank
Periodically have you on. You brought with another return guest. We were so honored to have Dr. Thomas Dozier, who is the pastor of Word of Grace and Truth Ministries in Tampa. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was so great having you. I have to say the obvious, and thank you guys for color coordinating today. Just really, they claim they did not. They claim they did not, but I'm loving it. So, all right, Daniel, while we have intrigued some people, and I have my little note in here, so you have to live with that for the moment. The Proven Plan, what is this? So our viewers are going, what do you mean by the Proven Plan? Why did you write this book? What is the purpose of it?
Well, it's out of my life experience, first of all. And there was years ago when I was just a new Christian, and then got saved and went off to Bible college and so forth. But then I got confronted by some missionaries in Mexico, and they started asking, me, are you a disciple? I'm going like, well, that's kind of weird. I mean, sure, I teach the Bible, and it was just the whole idea that they begin to use those terms, a disciple. And I started thinking about it, and I said, well, yeah, I'm a disciple, and maybe dig into what is a disciple and what they were doing to make disciples, and it just transformed my ministry. And as we begin to look into what Jesus did, because Jesus didn't really tell us to go build a church. He told us to go and make disciples. He told the disciples to go and make more of yourselves. So, and so that, of course, is the Great Commission as we know it. And that, of course, Great Commission is for all of us. We who say we're disciples, the key is that we're to go and replicate ourselves, as we make other people to come to know Jesus Christ and to walk in his ways.
Okay, and what you are talking about in this book is because you got somebody watching at home and I go, well, of course, we're all trying to make disciples. We're all, that is what we do. And I'm a disciple, and our church is doing that. But you actually have some concerns about the church today, that something is lacking on this level. And we will talk to Dr. Dozier as a pastor in just a moment to get his take on some of your concerns. But what are you concerned about?
Well, I think as we look at our world today and you look at how dark it's getting, and how the church, we're as a whole, are pretty ineffective as actually penetrating and impacting that culture, and yet we have a lot of Christians, and so you have to start to evaluate and say, oh, well, maybe what we're producing, because we only reproduce after our own kind. Apples reproduce apples, goats reproduce goats, and so forth. And so you have to think in terms of, okay, maybe what we're reproducing isn't of a quality that whereby we are making the kind of impact that Jesus said we should, because he told us that we would be the light of the world and the salt of the earth. And so if we're not doing that, then we have to go back and look at, what are we doing? And is what we're doing really following the plan that Jesus did with his disciples? And maybe that could be the key.
Okay, and one of the things you do when you're saying we're not, you use some stats in this book. That some of it's from Barna Research and some other things, that in terms of how many people are actually identifying as Christians, how many people are actually know the fundamentals of the faith. That's your big takeaway. Are we really teaching, coming alongside people? You try to make you make your case on that the church is not as effective by some stats. You're not just saying it; you bring up some material that says it. So, what then? You've got churches that are growing by leaps and bounds. You've got churches that are doing all kinds of outreach. They're doing all kinds of things. What is your warning to them?
Well, I think you have to begin to just evaluate yourselves in the sense of that we have to go after, the godly success, not numbers, but raising up really disciples. And I mentioned that, Jesus, he reached the few, he gathered the few, the disciples, in order to reach the many. We're doing just the opposite. We try to get the big crowd, and then we try to find a few disciples in the midst of all that, you know what I mean? And so we're just the opposite of what Jesus was doing. One of the things you can look at, I would challenge any pastor just to ask their congregants, and because 2 Timothy 2:2, where Paul is talking about, where you have seen and heard of me in the presence of many witnesses, commit thou to faithful men, that they might be able to teach others also. Yeah. Well, there's 4 generations in that statement. So basically what I'm trying to say in the book as well is that, but ask your average member, do they have a spiritual family tree? Do they have people that they have won to the Lord, or even maybe have come to know Christ through the church, and that they've actually kind of adopted and they're spiritual fathers and mothers of these people? And they might have some family tree, spiritually speaking, biologically, because of their sons and daughters, biologically. But really, do you have any sons and daughters? Do you have a spiritual family tree, from those that you've actually reached out to, won to Christ, or, through the process of the church, maybe winning people to Christ that you've then adopted? Because, Paul said that other people, he told the Philippians, he says, you're my joy, my crown at the coming of the Lord. Yeah. So those crowns are that we get in, when we be with the Lord, are going to be dispersed based on people that we have actually brought to Christ.
Well, you use a term called, and I want to talk to you now. He used a term called "do life with them." Mm-hmm. That it's not just about, because a lot of churches are doing small groups, they're doing fundamentals classes, even the bigger churches are. They're doing ways to try to tap people in, but it's beyond that. It's who are you doing life with? Who are you coming alongside and really nurturing and making opportunities for that? Dr. Dozier, you have an established ministry, Tampa. Why did this book speak to you, and what are you doing to try to implement some of these concepts of discipleship?
Well, in reading the book, I like to read things with an open mind, and then I'll look to see if, especially if it's something that's kingdom related, which most of the things I read are, then I'll look to see if this is something that can stand biblically. I saw when there are things that can stand biblically, and I think for a pastor, even if you're doing discipleship, because we hear evangelism a lot, and evangelism is important because the church will not grow without that. But you have to have discipleship. And one of the things that I saw in there was one of the things I believe in, and that is being precedes doing. And in order to be, you have to have an example. And so we see that in there. And I think it's something, I believe it's something, I know it's something that leaders can look at. Because I do believe that we say churches are growing, but we also have to be careful of swelling. And when I speak of swelling, you can get a great number of people, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have disciples. It doesn't necessarily mean that those people are growing. And in the time in which we live, can they stand in the midst of the adversity that we're facing and perhaps going to face even more? And it's going to take disciples to do that. Yeah. So the book said a lot to me, and there was one thing that stood out. I won't bring it out because it's in this book, but the FAT, F-A-A-T.
Yes.
Now that really stood out to me, and I kept looking at that over and over and over again because I do believe in accountability. As a matter of fact, at my ministry right now in the beginning of this year, I'm teaching all over concerning discipleship. I once did a course multiplication through discipleship, but I'm teaching discipleship all over. And what I had the people do in the church was get accountability partners.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's define that term for our viewers. They don't know what you're talking about. It's actually F period, A period, T, FAT, and it's faithful, available, accountable, teachable. And this was Dr. Bernard created that term. That's what we're talking about with discipleship.
Right.
Faithful, available, accountable, teachable. Getting people to that level and replicating that. And that's the part that stuck out to you, what you're saying, right?
Yes.
And that's what you're trying to do with your program.
Right. Even before reading that, I was looking at that and the accountability aspect. And Daniel and I go back a long way. We go back 27 years. So to be around somebody that long, you're going to have some things very, very similar. But yes, that really stood out. So I would recommend any pastor, even if you have a good discipleship program going on in your ministry, it is good to take some constructive criticism because that builds up, and you can look and you can compare what you're doing and see, is there something else where you could be sharpened? Okay,
I think we're running out of time, which I knew we would with this. There's so much you need to get the book because there's so much we're not doing, but I want to read a quote, Daniel, that I want you to respond to, and I think this just summarizes the book in so many ways. In today's church, people are coming to our services because of social media, online sermons, or some other advertisement. It is imperative that as people respond to the gospel, that we have people who are disciples, ready to take on the responsibility of being a spiritual parent. Is that the plan? You say the proven plan is
absolutely
coming alongside someone.
Yeah. That's what Jesus did. It was life-to-life impartation. And, we really, that's what we need to do. The Bible tells us that we have many teachers, but we have few fathers and mothers. And so we have to, and the difference is teaching. And again, the process of being a disciple or learner is a knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. The problem is because of our Western Greek, education system, is that we are stuck in the knowledge stage. We know a little about a lot. We're an inch deep and a mile wide, and we're not deep. And the way that we get deep is that through those relationships, as we encounter the Word of God with each other, and that exposes things. We grow that way, and that's what needs to take place. You can't do that in the cool of a classroom.
Yeah.
And that's how we raise up men and women
So
of
for
God.
practicality purposes, and we're going to wrap this up, is you can do all these other programs. You can have classes. You can have small groups and do this. But unless those are translating to somebody attending, this is the practical side I want to get to. People that walk into those classes, people that do, because some people have to take first steps too, that come in. The pastors can only do so much. People have to be willing to walk in. But when they do walk in, that they don't leave those classrooms or leave that small group with nobody alongside them.
Yeah, you got to develop those relationships.
They could still leave that and still not have a spiritual parent.
And part of the fat is to also identify people that you can pour into. Are they going to be faithful? Are they worth your investment?
Yeah.
And so those are all in the book. That help us to guide you in that.
That just gives a little bit. We're gonna show you on the screen in just a moment again how you can get the book and go through the Somebody Cares Tampa Bay website. Thank you. Well, this is a very challenging book. I have to tell you, there's some things when I looked at it, I was going, and then I read it. I go, he's right about this. There really needs to. We can be doing so many things and forget that person's walking out of that situation, out of church or out of a class. And have I asked them for coffee? Have I said, can we talk on one-on-one? Really, really important stuff. So hope you'll get the book. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Faith Focus. Well, I want to also mention that you can call Somebody Cares Tampa Bay. You can get that phone number on their website if you want to get a bulk price on multiple copies of the book. The book really is an important thing that you could share with friends, family, people in ministry. Really important to get. And thanks to the Positive Impact Ministries team for coming on the show today as well, sharing about their initiative in St. Pete. And thank you for tuning in. We're so glad that you do. Contact us. We want to hear from you. May God richly bless you. See you next week.